Guitar Maniacs, it's Pete Thorn. Welcome to the studio. You heard this device on all those guitar parts on the track at the beginning of the video. From the nice folks at Blackstar, this is the Department 10 dual drive. Now, at first glance, you might look at this thing and say, okay, I see a tube in there. That's cool. And 2 channels, dual drive. Okay, it's a 2-channel overdrive pedal for guitar. Well, it is that, but it's so much more than that, actually. This thing can also function as a full-featured recording preamp and USB interface to get audio into your computer. So yes, full 2-channel drive pedal sounds great, like preamping or running in front of a clean channel of a guitar amplifier, but also you don't even need a guitar amplifier and you can just run this right into your computer via USB, or you can actually take an analog cabinet simulated out and run that right into a computer, or I guess you could even run it into a PA and maybe use this live. So that's a lot. So let's talk about just the drive capabilities first and sort of the tone of the thing when using it as a traditional pedal. I ran it into the clean channel of my PT100 amp and I thought it sounded just great for straight up crunchy and overdrive and lead tones, even clean sounds. I could actually augment the clean sound of the PT100 using the cleaner channel, channel 1 on this unit. So on each channel you get a 2-way sort of gain range switch. So on this channel it's labeled CL and CR. I assume that's clean and crunch. And like for the clean part in the song at the beginning of the video, I had it on the CL setting, the clean setting, and you're going to hear in a little bit. When I turn this on and off, it really made a big difference. I set up the clean channel on my amp to be kind of flat and sort of neutral sounding. And then when I turn on the pedal, you'll hear it really wake up the channel and actually get a really cool, almost like British flavor going on to the clean sound that I was able to get. Nice harmonics, like upper mid-range, had almost like a Vox type quality to it when I used it in a clean setting. And then for the main rhythm guitar parts, I used it in the crunchy setting on channel 1, and you heard that first guitar that came in. That's what you were hearing, was this in front of the PT100 clean in the crunch setting. And it really has a very sort of like JCM 800 kind of, 70s, 80s rock crunch in that mode. Now the solos were all the second channel. Let's talk about just the last solo in the song. That was the lead mode, or overdrive mode. The 2-way switch for gain range on channel 2 goes from CR to OD, which I assume is crunch to overdrive. And I was using the gain up about 3/4 the way up, level set about half in front of the clean channel of the PT100, once again to get that kind of ripping solo tone that I had on my signature Sur guitar. Really, I think it's quite a great sounding tube overdrive pedal, just using it in the traditional fashion in front of a guitar amplifier. And even for like some augmented clean sounds to kind of switch up the clean sound of your amp. Real quick about the controls, you've got a level and a gain on each channel. You've got the aforementioned gain range switch there to switch from clean to overdrive or from crunch to lead, that kind of stuff. And then you've got the EQ controls here. You got bass, middle, treble, and also this ISF control right here, which kind of contours the mid-range. They say it takes it from an American style amp sound to British. I just hear it as more mids one way and then sort of scooping the mids the other way and flattening the tone out a little bit, but it's handy to kind of contour the sound on both channels. Okay, now for the really unique stuff. You've got a USB output on there. You've also got this DI out here and an output that's labeled cab rig over here. So this has got full cabinet simulation in it if you want to use it. And it'll function as a full 2-channel stereo interface. I mean, you can use this totally alone to get your guitar sound and run it right into your computer and record right out of this straight into the computer via USB or direct out into your own different recording interface. So for the first little lead guitar part, the short part, as well as the second lead guitar part in the song that I was playing on the Les Paul, you heard this as the only tone. I wasn't using the guitar amp, I wasn't using a cabinet or anything like that. This was the sound using the internal cabinet simulation and then running USB out right into my computer. So for recording demos, recording at home, recording late at night, in a hotel room, on the road, this can be your guitar sound. So long story short, lots of options. Into the front of a guitar amp, as a USB interface into your computer, straight out into a PA, right into a powered monitor. Just a couple more things here and then I'll get to the sound examples. There's an effects loop there, send and return right there on the back. And then you've also got this cab switch here that lets you switch up a couple different cabinet sounds. You can store 3 different cabinet sounds in the pedal itself. You can connect to the computer via USB and use their Architect software. They call it Architect, which I think is a great name for software actually. And you can get in there and switch up the cabinet types, the microphones, actually blend in a room microphone. And then once you end up with a cab sound you like, you can store up to 3 of them in any of the 3 positions on this switch right here. So I wanted to show you how I used the pedal for that little clean break in the middle of the song, because it's not just about overdrive, it's actually got a clean sound in it. So I've got my amp set, and I have it set on quite a neutral clean. I'm using channel 1, I've got the treble on like 6 on channel 1, and I've got the bright switch off. And so with no like effects or anything, because I used a couple pedals on this as well, like a compressor and stuff for this part. No effects, no nothing. Here's just the amp by itself. Okay, like that's a neutral clean to me. And the pedal sounds great boosting and preamping a clean like that. If we turn on the pedal, you'll hear how much it wakes up the tone. Okay, and add a little compressor to that. It's an Andy Woodshed compressor from Sir, M300 reverb from MXR, and a little bit of Echoplex from Dunlop as well, and you get this. Okay, really nice, kind of almost Vox sort of tone. It sounds kind of voxy to me. I've got the bass down around like 9 o'clock. I've got the mids boosted, and I've got the treble up quite high, but it never gets shrill at this setting. It just sounds cool to me. So I just wanted to show you for a second here the sound that I've been tracking the rhythm guitars in the song at the beginning of the video with, the kind of dirty, you know, JCM 800 or Plexi sounding guitars. It's a really great crunch sound, I think. That's the, you know, obviously the amp with no pedal, right? And just for sort of kicks here, why don't I go over to the distortion channel on my amp, and you can hear what that sounds like. That's the PT100 channel too. You know, not even trying to match the tones, that's the gain. Here, I'll just bring it up a little bit. And we'll go back over to channel 1 and hit the pedal one more time. It's not the same sound exactly. I'm not trying to make them exactly the same, but they're both really cool tones, I think. So the pedal does a great rock and roll crunch into channel 1. Okay, so I'm midway through tracking the tune as I'm recording this little bit, and I played one little lead guitar part towards the beginning of the song using the cab output, just the 1/4 inch out plugged into my interface, and using the pedal for all the like guitar sound. Like, in other words, I'm not running through an amp or anything like that, not using it as an overdrive in front of an amp, but using this as the core tone. And then I came out of the cab out right into my interface and recorded that. But they also let you use this as a USB interface. You can see I've got the USB cable hooked up here. I've plugged it into my computer. The Department 10 is actually the interface. And it's working just fine. Just inputs 1 and 2 show up in Logic as the 2 inputs that you can pick. And away you go, basically. So I also downloaded their Cab Architect software. And this lets you change up the speaker simulation in the box to whatever you want. You can see up here on the screen everything that you can change here. Microphone positioning, you can add room mics or take the room mics out. You can add some resonance, some presence. It just opens up a whole different world of possibilities. You can even change up the type of power amp sim that is in the unit. 6L6s, EL34s here, or EL84s. So some really cool stuff. So let's take a listen to what I got going here. I already changed the cab sim that was on the switch to be a 412 Classic UK now, it's called. It was this 212 Vintage up here, I do believe, and I changed it to this 412 Classic UK one. It sounds like this. And you can hear I got a bunch of room sound going, so I'll shut the room off for a second. And it sounds like that. Let's try moving the power amp sim to 6L6. So you can hear it gets that kind of more scooped out quality, more low end. Let's go back to EL34. Less lows, more mid-range. Let's move the resonance up a couple notches here and listen to what that sounds like. More of that kind of power amp resonance sound. I'm gonna actually just unmute the room mic and let's just solo it actually, and we'll listen to what the room mic sounds like. I got it set on medium room. So that's kind of neat, so that you can add that into the signal. You can do it in stereo, it says. That's interesting. I would have to change my record channel here to be stereo instead of mono in order to get that going, because you're just listening to it in mono right now. But that's nice to know you can do that. I'll change to a different room sound. Let's go to the large room. And now let's go to the large room damped. So it should be just a little darker. Yeah, sounds like a really dead room. Let's go to large room damped, or just the regular large room actually, and then I'm gonna take it out of solo, and now you'll hear it mixed in with the close mic. Pretty cool. So there's all kinds of options in there in the software for you to play around with. Guitar nerd, thanks for watching my video on the Department 10 dual drive pedal from the nice folks at Blackstar. It's also a USB interface. It's a great dual channel overdrive. Run it in front of your favorite guitar amplifier in traditional pedal form, or run it straight into your computer with no guitar amp needed. Full cabinet simulation in there. This thing does so much. You can check it out further at the link down there in the video description below. Click there, it'll take you to more info about the Department 10 dual drive. Please hit subscribe if you haven't. Hit the little bell beside the subscribe. You'll get an alert when I put out a new video. Take care, you guys. I'm Pete Thorn. Over and out. See ya.